And hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to FSP. This is episode 117. That is,
Oh yeah, should
yeah.
be talking about Halo. This
I know.
episode.
Why don't we have a whole show about Halo? Skip everything else that we were planning on talking about and let's just talk Halo. That would be amazing. We haven't done that in a while. Maybe we'll talk a little bit about Halo at the later in the show, just for the hell of it, right?
Yeah, I'm
Why
down.
not? Shout out to the chat. Shout out to everybody for being here. Thanks for watching Fun Speculation Podcast. And I see some awesome names there. We got E-Ranks, Big Mad Mo hanging out, Masshole, RSJ fan, Marty McFly, Cyber Gunther is here hanging out as well. Like the new layout. Hey, yeah, I'm trying new things. So I have a kind of a thing that we started doing with Restream. So Restream 2.0 is a new thing they came out with a lot of new features and stuff, and they were kind enough to hit me up with to try it out. I've been using Restream in the background for a long time for doing like the multi-stream stuff and using it kind of as the tool to actually broadcast or podcast in multiple places at once. But I haven't actually used the studio features and stuff for a long time. So I tested it out a little bit yesterday with a Mavcast, and now going to be checking it out for our shows. So hopefully you guys like it. Hopefully everything sounds good and works okay. If you're interested as a content creator and checking out Restream, there's actually a link in the description below. Just let you guys know that's an affiliate link as well, so it does help the channel if you do use that and stuff. So, but I appreciate everybody being here and watching the show. And this is going to be fun, man, because we got some new things we can play with. Can show the chat on the screen easier. I can highlight things and stuff like that as well. And yeah, it should be fun, man. But hey, we got a couple guys here. Also, a note that we are obviously an hour earlier than usual. So that may be a new thing going forward for FSP and Xbox Ultimate. It was just starting to get too late, a lot of times on these shows and making it hard for everybody and stuff. So we're going to try to stick to 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern time, I think, and see how that goes. And hopefully it works for the chat. But yeah, thank you guys for being here without me really giving a proper notice on that as well. Not very good hosting of me to do that, but you guys show up anyway. And not only do the chat show up, but 3-Bit's here too, and 3-Bit's busy. He's actually working while he's podcasting. A very actually important cause as well. So, but how's it going, 3-Bit?
It's going good, man. I've been working most of today, doing some stuff for Hurricane Helene. Um, I don't know how much I can say, but I'm just doing some stuff in the backstory, in the background of basically what's going on with Hurricane Helene. So that's all I can say. But besides that, I've been playing RoboCop. I love that game. I think I'm almost done with it actually.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like choice driven stuff like towards the middle to end half of the game it seems like, and um I'm having a hard time like looking up solutions online. Like usually I'll be like, oh, I don't know which decision should I make. What did other people make or something?
Hmm.
I don't see a lot online. So I'm like, shoot, I have to do this myself. Like I have to make a decision myself. So I don't know. I'm that's literally the only reason I stopped playing because I was like, oh, what do I do? And I just turned it off. So I want to beat Cyberpunk as well. I played a little bit of the DLC, and then I really want to play Starfield. I've seen some people play the Shattered Space earlier
Hmm.
today. I seen Greg Miller play it a little bit. Some other people dive into it. Man, it looks great. I really want to play that, so I will be diving into that probably this week. But yeah, it's been really good. Me and Fuzz had a pretty good show last night. And yeah, I'm excited to be here in episode 117. We've been doing this for some time.
Yeah.
It's it's like a we start talking old almost. And you
Yeah, man. I actually went and was kind of checking out some of the older stuff on the channel and things like that the other day because I was trying to do some cleanup on things. And yeah, between like 200 plus episodes now of XUP, 117 episodes now of FSP. I think PM and the PMs is higher than this show, even on the count. And I don't know how many episodes of Fun Pop we did, right? But in total, we got to be closing in on like 400 total like podcasts, roughly, or something. Or no, it'd be more. It's 200 plus. Yeah, it's like almost 500
yeah.
podcasts. Is pretty crazy to actually think about. But yeah, man, it's good to have you here. I wasn't sure if you were going to be able to make it or not, so I was happy that you
Yeah, I
were
got
able
the
to be.
time. Honestly, I was working so much when you sent that message. I was thinking you meant like in 10 minutes. And I was like, oh shoot. I feel like I completely just read it wrong.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm still working. And I might be a little distracted during the show, but I'm always gonna try and make it if I can. Yeah, appreciate being here.
Yeah, right on, man. And Fuzzy Belvedere. I saw it earlier today. Early today, you were on with Boom.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I dropped in.
As yeah, I was listening in to you guys. But how's it going today, man?
Oh, it's going great. Been trying to finish up tidbit stuff and trying to find like a new source for like some of the highlights for the games coming out. But got everything installed for Shattered Space. Haven't gotten to play it yet, but we'll probably be staying up extra late playing that and probably no life in it for a little bit. But man, just enjoying what we have as far as games coming out this week. And just been catching up on some of the stuff on the backlog. I wanted to try to hit a few things before I hit Shatter Space. Doesn't look like I'm a complete Gotham before it leaves. What do you call it? Game Pass, but I'll probably want to picking it up at a discount here shortly and stuff. But man, a lot of stuff to get into today, and yeah, episode 117. Yeah, we're going to mention some Halo stuff because
Yeah.
aren't they talking about something for the 25th anniversary?
Well, they're talking about a little bit here and there, and there was some rumblings about possibly there being something for that. So we'll see, man. We'll see what they have in store. I'm been on the record saying that we need more Halo, just some more Halo things. Like it doesn't have to be the biggest Halo game that comes out, but you know they were doing a lot of posts recently about ODST because it had an anniversary as well, right? So With that, it's got everybody kind of talking like, we missed this game and stuff. And I think that more spin-offs and different kinds of experiences like that would be very welcomed by the community, right? So
Mhm.
we'll see. Maybe we get some of that. Other than that, like, Halo's still got a player base. People are playing Halo Infinite. People playing a lot of Master Chief Collection still, stuff like that too. So, but it'll be interesting what happens next year, right? With Halo, like, is the biggest Halo news that comes out next year like something that's going to be controversial, like going to PlayStation and stuff like that, right? That is very possible. Who knows with everything else going on?
They really haven't like marketed Halo as much as some of their other games recently, which I do wonder if that's maybe why. I don't know. Like, have you noticed, like, in the last few showcases, we'll be like, "Oh, Halo's coming out with a new DLC," but we find out via a blog post, or 343 has like their specific live stream, and we're like tuning in to find out more info of like what's coming to Halo Infinite. It's never like at Xbox's show, and if they do it so brief, I'm like, what the heck? This is supposed to be like your your franchise. But I
Yeah.
do wonder if like I just wonder what the future of Halo, what they want to do with it. Um, like, I know they're making the next Halo right now. I guess I forgot like the whoever the new director is of Infinite. Like, first off, he's doing a
Pierre
killer job.
Heinz, right? I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Pierre, I guess Pierre
Yeah,
Hein.
Pierre Heinz, I think is his name.
He's been killing it. Him and his team. I think he originally was. I forgot which department. What was he originally? Before they moved him up, like, what was his original position?
I
Whatever
know
it
he
was.
was heading up MCC or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, he
Oh,
had
okay,
basically
yeah.
taken control of MCC, had fixed that game and got it to become what it was, which is amazing. And then I think after Bonnie Ross left, and then after the other kind of things were going on there, and other people left at 343, they had put Pierre Heinz in charge and of Halo Infinite, but also of the studio. And now it's like his ship to run, I think, and he's done great things with Halo Infinite, in my opinion. I think it's
Yep.
been a better track record of content and updates to that game that has improved it. But it's just going to be interesting to see what happens next with Halo, because no longer will he be the guy that's asked to come in and fix a game. He will be asked to actually make the next big one, right? So I think it's a little bit different level of pressure there, but I think he can do it, man, because it seems like he's got the right mentality with the way that they're structuring the games and
Yeah.
stuff. So yeah, but we'll see. But I want more things from different creators and different developers and stuff like that as well.
Yeah, Halo again is that franchise that needs to be the Star Wars. We need a Star Wars outlaw Halo. We need a Star Wars um Jedi Survivor type Halo.
Yeah.
It needs to just be experimenting in different genres. You have the main one. Hello, Psycho. Um,
Huh.
you got the main Halo that people love. The main formula for the sandbox Halo that makes Halo Halo, and then you kind of go in and get your experimenting games, kind of like what they did with ODST, where it was just like it's similar to the main game, but they experimented with like the ODST soldiers, like shift perspectives a little bit. That's honestly what I'm looking forward to in any future Halo plans. They need to really diverge um, the franchise out a little bit, especially because I remember there was an older article with Bonnie Ross when she would have interviews with like Ryan McCaffrey, when she talked about like they didn't want to saturate the market with Halo, but
Hmm.
I think they should saturate the market with Halo right now. I understand that decision a while ago, but now yeah, it's about that time.
How you doing, Psycho? What's up, man?
I'm doing fantastic. What's up, everybody? Sorry I'm a little bit late, but glad to be here. I finished Visions of Mana today, so fantastic game. Loved it, and so good.
Are you gonna play the other Mana games that hit Game Pass now, or?
Yes. I was thinking of starting up on Legends because that's the older one, and then moving on to Trials.
Right on.
So, but yeah, no, it was really good. It is definitely different because I believe the other ones were turn-based RPGs. This is more action RPG, but still a lot of fun, and switching a lot of the specials that you can, because you can change different elementals for your character and stuff like that.
Right.
They can do different specials within that element, and I've noticed that when you start collecting and fighting certain bosses or mini bosses and certain trials and stuff, that you unlock the actual like these potions to upgrade your tier to get more powerful like spells and whatnot, and different moves and abilities and stuff, which is pretty cool. The only thing I didn't do was just the trials. When you have to get all these like there's like these shrines for wind, fire, and all that. You have to click them all. That unlocks the tower, and the tower, it ain't easy. I tried one, and because I was only at a level 54, 55 at the time when I tried it, fucking kicked my ass. Now I'm at 68, so I'll probably go through it and give it another whirl and see, because you can do the new game plus, which keeps your level, you keep everything, but you start the game all from scratch, but you keep your level and your powers, but you can only unlock them once you progress in the story, so
yeah,
which is pretty cool. But you're so the monsters at that point don't start off at your level, they start off the normal level. So I'm fighting like the level 2 monsters. I'm like beating them with one swipe, and I'm like, oh my god. So, and then yeah, outside of that, I was gonna try like I said, Legends of Mana, but then I what was that? I was watching Dune Part 2, and I was like, oh shit, I forgot. It doesn't start
early.
You're going early today anyway.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think we'll probably do this going forward too. On Friday nights and Monday nights, I just want to try and get to where we're finishing up earlier and stuff like that if we can. So we'll be I think it's gonna work out. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, everybody in the chat, look for Mondays and Fridays to switch from 10 p.m. Eastern to 9 p.m. Eastern, which is actually the old time that we went with. And then things got really kind of crazy busy and ended up having to push it back.
yeah.
But I think it's gonna work better for us at least. So I know other shows are running into us, other shows that are big shows and stuff like that. So, but like we got to do what we got to do, right? And don't really worry about that stuff too much. See mayonnaise on point for sandwiches. Had said, anyone find it strange there's no Shattered Space reviews? I don't think anybody got codes or anything for it. I don't think anybody got anything for it. Like, I think really everybody's just literally installed it today. I don't think they sent anything to media or anything like that. I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure we would have had some reviews today if they had done that. But I have seen a lot of positivity about it from people that are playing it today. And that's the most important thing for me. So yeah, so they didn't release review copies, so everyone experienced it at the same time. There are no doubt some folks trying to speed run through it. Yeah, there's also been articles today coming out about Starfield, like the typical. I highlighted one earlier from Paul Tassi, who a lot of times I think he is a good journalist, and then sometimes he does stuff like this, and it's kind of like, okay, it's another clickbaity kind of headline where he says, as a matter of fact, way on the headline that this game will determine the future support for Starfield, like it's some kind of a fact on the headline. But in the article, it's all just speculation of like, how will this affect their future content plans for Starfield? If it, depending on how Shattered Space does, maybe it will have some kind of effect. Like, in Todd Howard's already went into a lot of talk about how they see this as a long-term game. And let me tell you something, people, right? Starfield is a successful game. Like, as much as some people don't want to believe it or understand it, it is a very successful game. It actually had the biggest launch in Bethesda history, and that's talking about a lot of different games, right? A lot of big games. And if if they can recover from Fallout 76's launch and keep putting money and effort into that and turn it into the popular game that it is now, I understand it's multiplayer and stuff like that, so it's a little different. But if they're not going to even move on and stop supporting Fallout 76, you think they're going to move on from Starfield? The other thing is, it's not Microsoft's MO. They're not PlayStation. They're not just going to give up on this shit when it fails. And that being said, it's not even a failure. It's a massive success. So anyway, the kind of stuff like that, the pessimism, the trying to make this perception about Starfield not being some kind of a great success is happening again and again and again and again. Just like the Insider Gaming article that came out a few weeks is like, will Shattered Space save Starfield? In what manner does it need to be fucking saved? There is no manner that it needs to be saved whatsoever. They saved Starfield when it launched as an amazing game. It was great, and I think it'll continue to be that. Nevertheless, you're going to continue to see these kind of articles and all this kind of stuff about it. But
I don't see it being strange that they didn't give out any review copies, because I don't know.
It's an expansion also. No, I don't think it's as common for them to do that on expansions. Did we lose Psycho? Is everybody, can y'all hear me? I can't hear anybody. Okay.
Yeah.
No, it was me. It was like my microphone my headset came unplugged.
Yeah, okay. I was like, what?
All right. Well, yeah, no, I just couldn't hear anything. I
think what Psycho was about to say was he wasn't surprised that Xbox didn't want to give copies because of how disingenuous the media is.
Yeah.
Which I kind of agree with, but also, like you were saying, it makes sense that they didn't send one because it's also an expansion. I don't know historically if they gave it 4 expansions to begin with.
Yeah, I mean, I know that people have done expansion review copies for games like and stuff like that, but this game is fine, and this is the first expansion they had for it. It's not like they're not even treating this as like a whole 2.0 kind of like when Phantom Liberty came out, right? That was like a very expensive expansion that was like, hey, we're basically kind of changing a lot of the game, right? Of Cyberpunk. And that was a much bigger thing even than a just traditional large expansion, which is like what this is. I don't see anybody ever talking about review copies of some of the other expansions that come out for a lot of games all the time. So anyway, it's just kind of weird. Again, it's something like, hey, this is Xbox, and this is something that is a big deal, a game or content for it. So let's pinpoint and hyper focus on some of the negativity out there for it.
There's like specific creators too that I won't name, but they constantly hate on the game and how terrible it is, and then they're like the first people to like play it. I will never understand that. If you hate a game, why keep giving it your attention? And I will never understand the mentality for games I don't like. I don't play. I don't think to really comment on unless I've tried it out and giving my opinion on it. But for the most part, to continuously just, I don't know. Starfield is always a very interesting example, like of how the media perceives Xbox in a way. Because like you've had articles say like, oh, we've already forgotten about Starfield. I'm like, then why are you writing an article about it? Um, but overall, I'm really excited for this expansion based on what I've seen, like with the vehicles. I've seen little snippets of gameplay where it has a lot more grav, anti-grav like sort of combat. That was one of my favorite sort of things in Starfield. I feel like I wanted to see more of that.
Mhm.
So that's kind of cool how spoiler, but kind of opens with that. Um, and yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to just them continuously expanding the universe that is Starfield, and gives us. I hope they keep going with like 5, 6 different DLCs, and this game has a super long lifespan, and it's like it was definitely my game of the year that it came out. Um, and yeah. Overall, just really looking forward to playing it later on. But if we're talking about the media, like I can't really trust half the media to give this expansion a fair shot with based on their coverage of Starfield when it first launched, comparing it to like the same people that are like, well, I'm willing to try it out, are the same people that was constantly comparing it to like um all these other space games, and saying like,
Yep.
why doesn't it do it exactly like this? And look at Star Wars Outlaws, look how you could seamlessly go in outer space, compared to Starfield. And we've seen like how like there's no loading in Star Wars Outlaws. They just like the way it loads in Star
Yeah.
Wars Outlaws, I guess, but it's still a loading screen. Just like little stuff like that I will um always call out the media for, but overall, I'm excited to try out the expansion. So
Yeah, I don't know what happened, but I'm here. So
Yeah. Well, sorry I didn't
welcome back.
notice you back in the green room thing.
yeah,
Um,
I have fucking no clue. I'm sitting there, I'm talking, and then I'm like, okay, well, it seems weird, and then my screen comes up and says, fucking something happened to the website. I'm like, oh, okay, but yeah, pretty much when I came back on, 3-bit was pretty much spot on with what I'm saying. It's just fucking weird. They wouldn't give them review codes for something that they shat on. I mean, why give you a cookie when
yeah,
you
that's the thing is like if they didn't, I was one of the ones saying that they should just stop. Period. Sending out review codes
fuck
early.
them?
Like, here's the thing, right? As a consumer, like reviews used to be very important for consumer informed decisions, and people were like, "Oh, if you don't get a review code, oh, something must be worried. They must be concerned about this game and all that kind of stuff." I think that media's become so subjective now, and the objectivity is completely gone from reviews, and this mob mentality narrative always kind of run rampant with different games, and some games get picked on or championed for different things all the time. The less focus is on quality. If focus was on quality and stuff like that, like the Call of Duty wouldn't be getting fours, right? Like the focus is on what's popular or what's like the agendas are, what we deem as acceptable in gaming and all those other kind of stuffs, right? Like, so for all these kind of journalists that are out there saying and defending subjectivity, that's fine, right? But if everything is just subjective and nothing else matters, and quality no longer matters, and you don't give credit where credit's due, don't expect to be treated as an important, informed decision person for people, because ultimately your review is only for yourself. It's not actually to inform consumers over the quality of products and stuff. And if that's what reviews have kind of turned into, just kind of a popularity contest of genre, a popularity contest of platform, a popularity contest of the style of a game, the style of the combat, the style of, and all the biases play in there. At that point, then hey, maybe if the game isn't for these people, then why even send it to them in the first place to let them review it? And instead, as consumers now, we can actually, guess what? We can watch gameplay. Like we can watch streamers. We can see social media and everybody's reaction and what people are saying about it when it comes out, right? And we can get tons of information about games. And if you're on the fence on it, wait until you actually see that or talk to some people. We don't need early reviews anymore. Like, I don't honestly think it's an important thing anymore with as much information as we have out there for games these days. So if they decide to skip them, when they, especially how the media has been clickbaiting Starfield ever since launch, with negative article trying to paint some kind of false perception about the condition and even performance and sales of the game, then fuck them.
Yep.
Right.
That's what I say.
They won't be getting clicks on the reviews. And
they're gonna,
this, you know.
yeah. I mean, they're gonna shit on whatever they want with or without a code. So why give them the opportunity to discredit all these developers' hard work for what they did in something that they're very passionate about, just so they can get clicks? Yeah, it's going to get to a point where you don't need fucking to follow any reviewer outside of your independents like ACG or whoever that you deem trustworthy for games that you might not know.
And a lot of those guys buy the games, right? And a lot of them buy them when they come out and review them. You know what I mean? So
these IGNs and these big, like the GameSpots and a lot of these other bigger review companies, they're going to get very humbled when these developers stop giving them review codes, because they're going to, games live and die by reviews of late. So if it doesn't get reviewed well and gets shit on, media shits on it with it, because it's all hive mind mentality, and they just fucking follow each other. Like, oh, it's IGN said it's bad, so it's bad. It's bad, and they just fucking roll, snowball into this bullshit. And then you play the game, you're like, bro, this game was actually really freaking good. What the fuck are they talking about? But they had their reasonings of why they did it. And, I hope that they don't, that these developers and publishers take their power away.
I remember there was some guy who did like a study on that. Like, if you see a negative review, I remember you talking about it, Matt. Like, there was
there was, as it knows, the publishers. The publishers actually got with universities and like some university or something, and did this massive study. And it was about players and their own perception of their experiences before, with different groups being subjected to positivity about a game before they play it, and then others being subjected to negativity before they play it. And it's a large amount of people, right? So it's a good size. Well, and then they have like brain stuff hooked up to them, all this shit, to kind of read their like emotions and like their thoughts and their peaks and lows and all these other kind of things when they're playing these games. And that was the same across the board when they're playing. But what was different was the comments they made after they played when being asked the questions about the game, right? Yeah. So when they were asking the questions, the people that were subjected to all this negativity about something led with mostly negative comments about the stuff that they're playing, because it was already in their minds, right? Whereas the people that were had seen a bunch of positive stuff was being more positive about everything that they played. And it shows how, even if we say, oh, I don't trust reviewers, I'd make decisions for myself, people can be influenced subconsciously to the way they talk and react to things without even realizing it. And that's actual scientific proven shit that actually happens. And the reasoning was actually three, but they were doing this is because there's arguments being made uh, from publishers. I'm not just talking about Microsoft, about, do we not send review codes out? Because it's like actually maybe better for them.
Yeah, and they really shouldn't. This is, in my opinion, their way to combat like their position in the industry. Like that Sony is so tied in with most big gaming publishers, and developers. Like it's, I've talked about this several times, but like most developers will develop a PlayStation version of a game first, and then make a Xbox port and things like that. I've talked about that for a while, but I just feel like within the industry, the default mentality of like, oh, I have to play it on an Xbox ripples through and reviews as well. Like they publishers, review sites tend to want a Sony version of a game than an Xbox version. Like that, like way more. Like that was something we saw different developers I worked for. They would ask for a PlayStation version way more than an Xbox version. So something Xbox should do, honestly, just combat like oh, I have to play Starfield on the Xbox mentality, because honestly that's what it really feels like, is just don't give it out. It's, and someone mentioned this in the comments. They said something about like Hellblade 2. That was a pretty good example of like, hey, like no one's getting this kind of early, and so people kind of just played it for themselves, and it got better reception from it. I know there was like earlier gameplay sessions of that people who played it had really positive interactions with the game, but um, honestly, like it kind of works in Xbox's favor, specifically if they want to um, battle the media in a way, or like from that article where they were trying to give a negative um, perception of a game before you played it, and then all of a sudden you have all these negative thoughts in your head. A good way to combat that is just not to play the media's game, and just go ahead, release the game, because by that time most people will play it. And what do you see on YouTube? You'll see like Mav play it, or you'll see like someone else, and then you see how much they enjoy it, rather than IGN or someone who bashes the game constantly. Like, what did we see from Suicide Squad before that game even came out? Like, you could say what you want about that game, like, oh, I didn't enjoy it, et cetera, et cetera. We had them bash the game for not for for basically no reason. Like they released the game ending early. They did things like, oh, they didn't give us review copies, had whole articles about that specifically. Honestly, I would just make a code going forward, like screw these review sites. Like stop giving them the power in a way. Like I understand like um perception can be good sometimes. Like the casual market, that's the casual media is still IGN. So when I'm looking up a game and stuff like that, most people will tune into like IGN to get their news, unfortunately, right? Not a big fan of those sites, but it kind of reminds me of like the whole game. They basically just need to stop giving it to these sites. I feel like you'll start getting better reception. People will try your game out more, and stop relying on these huge sites, because like what we end up with right now is they can punish a game for like their own reasons. Like what did we see with Hogwarts, for example? Like a great game, one of the best selling games of the year. No articles on it because they felt like, oh, we didn't like J.K. Rowling. So because we don't like J.K. Rowling, even though she had nothing to do with the game itself, we're gonna punish it, not put it in the Game Awards at all, not um, write any articles about how well it's selling, one of the best selling games of that year. Just completely just blackball it. And nothing to do with the good quality of the game. It's just like it's all semantics and um, feeling at the end of the day, and that's something that Mav hints on, and that's something I always hint on with reviews. Like it's not about objectivity anymore, because if you were talking about objectivity within reviews, then you would talk about like it should not be comparable of like a game like Pokemon with like tiled grass should be reviewed higher than like Starfield that's been worked on for like 7 8 whatever years, right? Because if we're talking about like a pure production standpoint, one is obviously better than the other. And what we've lost over time is like, oh, let's score on a scale that you scale how good are the graphics, how good is the sound, how good is the multiplayer. It basically turned into modern day reviews have turned into how do I feel about this game, and it has nothing to do with like oh the production quality is pretty good. Like if you can't realistically give like Abdul in the chat says like Modern Warfare 3 a 4 out of 10, compare that to like a Ubisoft game or any like indie game that's trying to
Yeah,
come out.
they gave it the same score as they gave Gollum, right?
Yeah, that's
So that's a
exactly what I mean.
perfect example, like to like a broken like mess of a trash game, right?
Yeah.
Like that's it just doesn't make sense. Like you can't put one against the other, right? And objectively actually give the same value if you're giving credit to the categories that do achieve great things, right? But
Sure.
if you're judging it only as your own perception of what you want in a game and what you deem as a great Call of Duty or not, and judging it in its own vacuum, then you will be judging it differently. And that's where they've lost the plot on being able to
it,
actually
it makes
grade
it
the
like
games. And
worthless nowadays because same with you, Mav. I used to really enjoy like looking at reviews for games.
Mhm.
I used to
Oh, they
get
used to be awesome.
yeah, because I feel like GameSpot back then, and you even had like the Xbox articles and the PlayStation
Yeah.
article, and just there's a bunch of different magazines and stuff back then.
Game
Game
Pro was my
Informer.
Game Informer,
Game
but
Informer.
Game Pro was my favorite back in the
Yeah,
day.
I love Game Pro.
And but what a lot of them did is they had different scores for different categories, and there was also a fun factor, and there was also for a lot of them there was like a replayability played into it, right? There was a separate score for replayability, which for me was always an important one because that was adding value to the consumers, right? Like, okay, how much do you get out of this game if you beat it? So if you just buy a game and you spend 10 hours and beat it, is it worthless? Or is it going to give you reasons to keep going back to it? And that's a lot of the reasons back then is why some of these companies ended up adding modes like New Game Plus and all these other things to get credit for that replayability factor to add value to their games. And it was because of the objectivity for those things that I actually kind of added that. Whereas now that doesn't matter, right? None of that matters. It's just how does it feel? How does it make you feel? That's the only thing. You could literally just say you could only just say a fucking number and all the words don't matter, right? Because they don't. You
That's when
could or
everything
you could
becomes
not.
either 7 out of 10 or like a 3. It's like
Yeah,
ridiculous.
because to everybody it's like every number is so subjective and my seven's different than your seven. Well, okay, well what the fuck is a seven then? How am I even supposed to know? If it's seven is different for everybody, then why does seven exist? I don't even know why it exists if it's different. I thought it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But no, I've actually heard people say, but you don't understand. To me, my seven could be different than your seven. Well, what does that fucking mean? So now we're actually being subjective about what a fucking seven is? Like that that kind of mentality just drives me fucking up the wall. And it's like, but we all know what these scores used to mean with games, right? It's been set in stone for 20 years in gaming, 30 years when these reviews actually were important and meant something. But along the way, as media changed in all of the world, as games media has also changed, it become like, hey, this is how I feel, and I have my fans that read my articles, and they are going to like what I say about this game. And I feel like this game is a fucking 6. Why? Because I said so, and it's subjective. I don't need to actually give you a reason why. It was great. It actually might be my game of the year, but it's actually still a 6. Why? Because my 6 is different than your 6.
Yeah.
What the fuck is that, dude? That's actually what they say. This shit actually is what they say. It sounds fucking crazy coming out of my mouth right now, like I'm a fucking lunatic. Oh, just making this shit up. No, but these are actual things that these people say. Oh, my job as a critic is actually to be subjective, not to be objective. What? When did that become the job of a fucking critic and a reviewer? Back in the day, the hallmark of a review was to remain objective.
Like
That was what actually gave value to it. Otherwise, it's only for you. And it doesn't matter what you say because nobody gives a shit about your taste. Like, you're judging things based on quality. It's consumer fucking products, right? We're paying $70 for these games, which a lot of these motherfuckers also championed, right? Paying $70 for these games. And we can't actually judge them based on different criteria.
I remember people attacked you for that.
Oh
man.
my god!
I remember a while ago, some certain people attacked you for that. But like, listen, honestly, that's how I feel. That's how I feel. Wow, I could do that too. That's how I feel with modern day reviews. Like before, like Mav was saying, GamePro and all these other sites really focusing on objectivity of not just how you feel about a genre or whatever. It was like, okay, how good are the graphics, today's standards? How good is the gameplay in this genre? Okay, cool, gameplay is good. How are we feeling about the sound? Does it add to the experience? Is sound a big important part of the game? If it's like a horror game, the sound might matter more. Like things like this have completely just gone out the window. And now what we see with like a game like Starfield is like, well, it's not No Man's Sky, so
yeah,
I'm gonna rate it lower. It just gets into this really dumb thing where I can't rely on half these reviewers out here because of stuff like that. Like it's like, oh, I didn't like someone rated I forgot who it was. It was like, oh, Bethesda did something with I can't remember what it was.
Okay,
but,
so this was Jim Sterling.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
so
was trying to remember what he did.
Fuck that guy.
I
Or girl, or whatever the fuck you want to call it.
I don't remember what they go by now, right? But so as far as that, I have no
Pat.
issues with that. Oh, come on, dude. Let's not go there. But regardless of that, like the fact that they put in the article, that Bethesda hates trans people, and that, and then they gave it a 4, right?
Yeah.
So I had a major issue with that, right?
Did that even happen though?
There was some kind of thing about some kind of maybe it's like an employee or something that like felt like they were, I don't know the whole situation. You'd have to go read into it, right? But there was like something
I thought they were
that
lazy and they got fired because they weren't pulling their weight.
I don't know. I don't want to get into that, right? But there was some kind of something that happened in the background. And that
was briefly trying to mention that just because it just goes to show you like nowadays, like it's again, it's just how you feel like I'm going to punish this game based on that. And then Abdul puts in the comments, Scale Up said, I will dock Bethesda's next game because of Fallout 76. just stuff like that. That those are two things that do not relate to what you're actually playing. That's basically my point. Like you could, you cannot like J.K. Rowling for whatever reason, but just because you don't like J.K. Rowling, like automatically the game is trash now. Like that has nothing. That the two things don't correlate to an objective review, which is my whole point. Like it has to get to a place for me to like really dive in and trust reviews. There's a few out there. I think ACG is the few out there where I can really trust his reviews. Someone mentioned in the comments um he watches us and podcasters, like same. That's kind of where I'm at nowadays. I can't trust a lot of the reviews out here. The fact that you get a game like Gollum and Modern Warfare 3 have the same score on IGN is ridiculous to me. Like how can you look at Modern Warfare 3, a AAA game, you look at the reload animations, how it feels, the campaign, all this different stuff, and say like, this should be the similar, if not the same score to Gollum. Like, I just can't. I can't. And then you get into those semantics where like, oh well, a 4 out of 10 for Modern Warfare, 4 out of 10 for Modern Warfare is not the same as a Gollum 4 out of 10. And then you're like, okay, well, what is objectivity? Because like, how did you receive that 4 out of 10 considering the production value that is in a Modern Warfare game?
Yeah,
like clearly when I play Modern Warfare 3, it's of a very high production value. Like you cannot like it. You could be like, oh, I wish they did something from this previous Call of Duty, but it just loses all objectivity.
It's just, well, the reviewers themselves say that objectivity is not important, so that's what they actually say. So it tells you that where it's gone, and that's what their mentality is, and that's the same kind of articles that they write also. So it kind of just goes into how they view their jobs now and how they view journalism in general is no longer actually reporting on things. It's more or less just reporting on opinions. Right.
Kind of like the regular news.
Right. Exactly. The regular media regular media had started doing that a long time before games media. Eventually it just transcended into, this is just the new age we live in. And that's why I'm just saying it, like, it doesn't matter if these companies actually even send the review copies anymore to these companies, because there's enough information out there for us to judge. Speaking of, have you played Shattered Space yet today, Fuzzy? I know you've been on podcasts all fucking days, so I don't know when you would have had time.
No, unfortunately, I haven't had time to play it. But just speaking to the whole review aspect, it's like, what are numbers anyway? Like, I agree with like what 3-Bit was saying, where a 4 for this game is not equal to a 4 of this game because random reason given kind of thing. And that kind of defeats the whole purpose of giving it a number score. If you're not going to be consistent all the way throughout, then what are we doing? But when it comes to the gaming media or the I guess journals or the ones that consider themselves the professionals and, hate us as far as the podcasters or YouTubers and streamers and things like that, I guess they kind of forgot the integrity to journalism or to be objective. Like if something affects you emotionally before you even really sit down to play the game, you should probably, sit that one out. Like if J.K. Rowling is like your arch nemesis in your world, I would say if you can't separate that from the game, because other than the licensing, she didn't have a hand in it, and they had representation as far as for what that particular person was complaining about actually existed in the game. And instead of evaluating that, if it was more true to form or if it was valid or if it was reasonable, no, they just completely crapped on the game instead of actually playing the game. And that kind of shows that if that's the approach you're going to take, then you're not doing your job as a journalist or as a gaming reviewer, because you're not reviewing the game, you're reviewing your emotions against whatever issue you have with either the license holder or whomever. And that's not doing anybody any good. It's not doing anybody any good that you might try to represent and might be interested in the game, or even if you're representing them and they don't necessarily have interest in the game, but the game has a message that could be useful to them, or a mechanic or some enjoyment can be found in that game, then you're doing yourself and the gaming community a disservice. But I've given up on journalists, both regular news and even gaming journalists. Like for regular news, I try to at least find different sources as far as for a story. I wish gaming journalists would at least try and look at it from, instead of a score standpoint, what they enjoyed, what they didn't enjoy, some critiques as far as what could be done to improve. I think the biggest drawback these days is that a lot of these gaming journalists wind up evaluating a game on what they wanted it to be instead of what it actually is.
Exactly.
And the perfect example was like Suicide Squad. They wanted it to be like Arkham Knight. Instead, it's a different type of game. If you go in there thinking, well, I want Arkham Knight, and it's not that, you're already starting off with that negative mindset to crap on the game. And
production value in that game, the story in that game, the gameplay in that game, the servers were good. It had a lot of content at launch. They had a quick pipeline. Like literally, they did for that style of game, Fuzzy. They did everything right.
Yeah,
it just wasn't the kind of game that people wanted from Rocksteady, which I was critical of when they announced it. But I didn't let that affect my perception of what I'm playing when I'm playing Suicide Squad, right?
Yeah.
But it ended up, that game was that perfect example of kind of that narrative that gets forced around where it doesn't even have a chance, you know?
Yeah. And I think I would respect a journalist that's going to review the game for its high points, like all the things you may mention as far as the production value and stuff within that game, because somebody's going to find some value in that or some enjoyment in that, and just take a step back and say, all these great things, but it wasn't the game for me. You may enjoy it as a looter shooter fan or something along those lines, but I was hoping more for their old style stories. I didn't get that, but there is a game full of content, full of, fun to be had with friends. You have the co-op, you have the single player aspects. Have at it. It just wasn't for me. And from there, the person can make that decision, because if they are looking for that looter shooter, well, yeah, this is that. If they were the same mindset as that reviewer, where they were looking for an Arkham Knight and they tell them straight up it's not that, but it is a looter shooter or more of a co-op experience thing, then they can decide, okay, well, maybe I'll give it a try when it's on sale, or maybe I'll just stay on this side of the fence and skip it until it's either in a subscription service or something. But I guess it's more valuable for them to get the clicks and the controversy swirling around it, as opposed to being honest about what their task is, which is to review the game that's in front of them. But it's just my 2 cents.
People was like, oh, I hated the music in Hi-Fi Rush. And it was like, as soon as it came to PlayStation, you mentioned that on your show earlier, I was like cracking up. It came to PlayStation, like, wow, suddenly, wow, I really connected with the song. Suddenly. It's just, it is what it is. My whole thing, like, it's always like to come back to a place where, like, well, what can you do out there? Your message. I guess like what people could do is just like follow peeps that you trust, follow different podcasters or like there's different peeps. Like if you like mainstream reviews, cool. I would just say, like, for me, it's not based on all the reasons we say here today is why I can't always vibe with mainstream reviews. Sometimes, like, I'll have to go to an IGN to inform you guys or something like that, or maybe they'll have like IGN exclusive for a game, because these developers are still very intertwined with a lot of these big publishers. But for the most part, like, try my best to get my reviews from people like you guys, people who are actually playing these games. If you like an JRPG, for example, I'm probably going to talk to Psycho, who loves JRPGs, not someone who like hates JRPGs, review a JRPG. you know,
Right.
which is what you get with a lot of these review sites. So like the people in our communities is peeps who I trust to inform me of stuff they actually like, stuff they vibe with. So that's kind of where I will be for the remainder. But yeah, I just can't with a lot of
Well,
this
this
stuff.
ended up blowing up into a bigger conversation, but ultimately,
Yep.
where we're going to, hey, reviews don't fucking matter anymore. Judge for yourself, and like, there's plenty of information for you to get, whether you think something's for you or not. And ultimately, hey, Shattered Space didn't get reviewed early, but again, people that are playing it right now seem to have a hell of a good time because guess what? They're probably Starfield fans,
Yep.
right? That are playing the game.
Yep.
Right, and not being forced to play it to get a review out ahead of time and then giving their opinions on it. So shout out to everybody who is playing it, that is Bethesda fans and Starfield fans and people that are enjoying it. And I can't wait to sink my teeth more into it. I did launch it again today on PC, but I kind of got lost and kind of just doing this other stuff before I actually went and did the Shattered Space thing. So gonna get that done. I think Kate's playing it right now, actually. So, but that's just one of many releases, right? Like coming up because we have this, we have Diablo Vessel of Hatred, like in about a week, a little over a week. We have Flight Sim is still coming. We have Indiana Jones is still coming. We have Stalker 2 is still coming. We have Call of Duty Black Ops 6 is still coming. Holy shit. And the Game Pass gamers and people in the Xbox ecosystem, this next couple months, you are fucking feasting on games right now. It is games, games, games. And this is the season to be playing these damn games because there is an abundance of good ones. And that is on top of, we just got Frostpunk 2 into PC Game Pass day and date. We got Aura History Untold into PC Game Pass day and date. We also have Age of Mythology Retold that just hit Xbox and PC Game Pass day and date. And if you are somebody that's wanting to get on the early access side of things, hey, it's not on Xbox, but on Steam, you can go ahead and try out Terraborn, which I have not done yet. But that is a thing that exists as well. I think it should be on Xbox storefront as well. However, it's not, but that's a different whole conversation. But regardless, like if you're in this Xbox ecosystem, Xbox first party published games right now, it is absolutely bananas, and the avalanche is fully unleashed, and it's not stopping this year because into next year, guess what? We have massive big games coming into Xbox as well. But it's not just Xbox games. We also this year we have Dragon Age Veilguard still coming out. And geez, what else is there? I'm missing a couple of big ones that are third party releases this holiday season. But it seems like most of the big stuff in the next few months is Xbox. Xbox. They're about to dominate the release schedule. We'll see how many people actually talk about these games. It seems like they've already had a couple of really good games hit that nobody's talking about, like Aura and Age. But it is what it is. I'm going to talk about them a little bit just because I'm having a hell of a time with them, and I think a lot of people may be missing the boat. If you want to see what Aura History Untold is about, go check out Pong's post on Twitter. And it's just an amazing game, right? If you're a Civilization fan, if you're a strategy game fan, if you're an RTS fan, if you're any kind of fan of these kind of games, and you got a decent PC, give it a go, right? Hoping later it comes to Xbox. If you're a strategy game fan, hey, Frostpunk 2, again, PC Game Pass as well. But also, Age of Mythology Retold. I can't get enough of it. I streamed it the other day, and that game is just an absolute blast, and I can't believe the job that they did. But what I wanted to ask you guys real quick, because this is a conversation, at TGS, we got the announcement that StarCraft Remastered, which is already exists on PC, plus StarCraft 2, are going to be moving into PC Game Pass in November, right? Do we think with this rumors also that there is a StarCraft shooter or StarCraft Ghost game in the works behind the scenes at Blizzard, as rumblings going on now, do we think there could be a chance that we could get StarCraft 2 Definitive Edition type treatment, like an Age Definitive Edition type treatment And where they move it onto console as well, update the game. I think that would be the first good step to do with the franchise after PC Game Pass releases for those.
Hmm. Yeah, go ahead, Fuzz.
No, I was going to say, I think that's in the cards. I mean, this is kind of like a test, I think, with putting it in Game Pass and seeing how, or PC Game Pass and seeing how people take to it. If there's enough of a buzz, enough requests to get it on console, which they're probably working on the controller functionality here soon. I kind of wish they would, at least when it being in Game Pass, have it where they open it up for keyboard and mouse. Like there is already the support to have keyboard and mouse on console. Make it so it's at least playable through Game Pass. Possibly don't sell it just yet, so you don't take money and then have it where somebody doesn't realize that the controller support's not there yet. But at least have it playable, so that way those that do have a keyboard and mouse can try it. And if they don't have a keyboard and mouse and they try to play it, it's like, hey, at least this isn't the key thing you're paying for Game Pass in accessing it and having that limitation to it. But considering even Jason Schreier likes to pick on Xbox because he's talking about, oh, it's a mess there, but he completely ignores Bungie and ignores what went on at Insomniac and ignores what's going over at Ubisoft. But take his word for it on the Xbox stuff. But he did at least make mention that there is some sort of StarCraft Ghost being incubated. Hopefully we see something soon. I don't know if they do the definitive edition because I think they're moving things along pretty quick. We might get a new StarCraft in general as opposed to them going back and doing like a definitive edition. I think that's probably more in the cards, doing a new StarCraft and then doing the StarCraft Ghosts, which hopefully it's either a first or third person. I'm leaning more third person, but hopefully that's closer to release, like maybe a 2026 where it's like a cross-gen possible title kind of thing. But we'll see how fast they can churn things up and get that going. But yeah, I think it's in the cards.
Yeah. It seems like that was kind of a revitalization for the Age franchise that kind of started with those, right? And it's done wonders, and they're getting so many players, and they need to get StarCraft team together again, right? And maybe that's already happened. Maybe they're working on it. We don't know, right? They're supposedly they're working on a lot of different things at Blizzard that we don't know about, right? But that would be the next step, because it's something that wouldn't be as drastic of a huge undertaking, right? Because you got the base game already there. You kind of tweak it, you improve it, you give it updated graphics, then you do work with the World's Edge and kind of bring the controls up to console, which StarCraft's been on console before. So people as saying, oh, you can't do StarCraft on console. It's been on console before, right? Most big RTS franchises like have been on console at one point or another if they've been like one of the top ones. And I think StarCraft would be awesome on Xbox. So we'll see if it happens. What were we gonna say, 3-bit?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, them doing the StarCraft release for PC Game Pass is just a good sign. Like, it's kind of like a torch moment that they are wanting people to jump back into the franchise as like a reminder sort of moment that like, hey, StarCraft still exists. Here's just a little reminder piece. And in the background, we're also working on more StarCraft. There was also that piece from Jason Schreier, where he was saying like that is something they're possibly working on, a StarCraft Ghost sort of situation, or I don't really know exactly what they're working on, but it seems like it's back in the cards, and maybe this was sort of like a strategic move from Xbox to kind of be like here's just a little reminder, StarCraft still exists. That was like an easier way to sort of revitalize just get some mind share back on the franchise, because it's been a minute. It's been a while since we've seen like anything new from StarCraft. So yeah, I mean, I believe that is something they're currently working on for sure.
Man, I can't wait to see what happens with it. Yeah, I was talking to AJH in the chat. He was saying that he likes the same kind of RTSs that I usually like, which is like Command and Conquer, StarCraft style, those kind of games. I Command and Conquer is my favorite RTS franchise. Second would probably be Lord of the Rings: Battle for Middle Earth 2. They're like that might be actually my favorite game as a franchise though, Command and Conquer, and then haven't played as much StarCraft. I've played a little bit here and there, but it's something that I want to get into. Right, I really want to get into StarCraft, so I'm hoping that they bring it back. But I will say, as a person that primarily likes those kind of RTSs, don't sleep on Aura. Don't sleep on Aura because the way that the game is taking you through the turns and all that kind of stuff, like it's kind of captivating, right? You can start playing Aura History Untold, and then you can look at the clock and realize 3 hours have passed by, and you have no fucking clue how that happened, right? It's that kind of game, and absolutely love it.
Yeah, I seen Pong's post is honestly making me really want to try it. Like he was like,
Try
"Oh,
it,
I
dude.
just got in a war with this other country, and we argued." And I was like, "What the heck is this game?" It just seems really interesting. I've been playing a little bit of Age for the first time. My only experience with Age of Empires is literally it's Age of Empires 2, but it was the DS version. And for some reason that was like my entry into the franchise, and I really liked that game. I was like, "Ooh, this is kind of cool." But the genre in itself, like I've jumped in and out of over the years, like with stuff like Gears Tactics or Halo Wars, or a little bit here and there, sprinkles of like XCOM and things like that. Haven't really dove into a lot of RTSs. It's just like not the first franchise I jump into, but I almost like every single franchise or every single genre of a game as just one of those that usually gets a little bit left behind. But based on what Pong has been posting, or you've been posting, and me kind of getting into the new age, so many games right now.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely eyeballing that one.
Which of these games coming out this next couple months, because there's a deluge, right?
Yeah.
Is your most anticipated right now?
That's coming out like
Before the end of the year, but yeah, this year. I mean, there's a lot.
Yeah,
it's really hard for me to pick. So I'm curious what you guys.
Metaphor actually jumped up on the list.
Oh fuck, I forgot, dude. I just forgot about Metaphor. Oh my god.
Yeah, Metaphor has actually jumped up on the list. Yeah,
That's like next week too, right? That's like the same day, I think, as a Vessel of Hatred, or 3 days after, or something right around there.
I'm trying to be good and just finish RoboCop first before jumping into these games, because like my problem was when I start jumping around in different games, I remember the control scheme of the last game, so it really messes me up. Like if I all of a sudden jumped into Starfield right now, I will try and like melee with the wrong buttons that I'm using right now in RoboCop. It's just my brain has to almost rewire itself. That's why I replayed Witcher 3 like a million times. By the way, like I almost got to the end. I was pretty much at the very end of Witcher 3, and I was like, and then I took a break and I came back. I'm like, I don't remember how to play this game. I'm getting my butt kicked. I need to start over.
Yeah.
So yeah, I gotta finish RoboCop. But this year I really want to jump into Metaphor. I'm playing Indiana Jones day one. I might even buy the collector's stuff for Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
I'm just a huge indie fan, so gotta do it. Stalker 2. I'm a huge Stalker guy. I gotta play Stalker. Again, that game might not be for everybody, but I hope a lot of people enjoy it. It's going to be deeper probably than a lot of people realize. There, don't expect like a running gun, like, oh, I'm just gonna shoot people and then run around and collect like a Ubisoft type. Like, no, that's probably not happening. What else? I do want to try Ara, honestly. That has jumped on my list as well. There's just so many games. I gotta finish Ace Attorney. I know that's not this year release, but as a game, I gotta finish up. Yeah, it's not looking good for next year either. Like it just continues to grow. But um yeah, I think if I start streaming like some of those games and be like have like people hold me accountable, it'll be a little bit better. So I'll be like, I will finish this game. Because
Well, it's hard because like you start doing that, but then you realize you want to play it, but you don't feel like streaming.
yeah, you want to like play in your pajamas,
right? Yeah, like I kind of like, and I want to play in the other room right now,
Yeah.
So it's like, how do we handle this? And I want to progress. Like RoboCop, I was streaming it, and I was like, I'm not going to make any promises that I'm going to stream this whole fucking game because I want to play it when I'm not streaming too, right? So, yeah, it's hard sometimes with that kind of stuff, man. But
I feel like if I had a better setup, like because I have a capture card, I don't have a proper laptop, so my setup is all downstairs for the most part.
right,
So it's kind of a little bit harder for me.
yeah,
A lot of games, man. I'm sure I'm forgetting a lot too.
there's too many.
I want to play Sonic, the new Sonic with
Yeah.
Keanu Reeves. And there was a couple shown at the Xbox showcase and the Sony showcase that I really want to play. They're just so far down on the list, but I still want to play them. Yeah, I can't remember all of them, but like off the top of my head, definitely Stalker 2, definitely Indiana Jones, definitely Metaphor. Those are like the top, and then it kind of goes down to like Stalker and whatever else I said. I can't remember all the games. Well, are you going to play Dragon Age? You guys?
Oh, yeah, I am for sure. Fuzzy, you said you're getting that day like when it launches too, right?
I think I will. I don't want to be one of those guys that's like, oh yeah, they don't have the sliders, whatever. But I kind of do want the sliders. But then even if they don't have the sliders, I'll probably pick it up on PC. If they do have sliders, I'll probably pick it up on Xbox, just because I know you can do PC mods at some point. Mm-hmm. But I really hope that they have all of the adjustability of like what Dragon's Dogma has, or at least close to it. But I do like the combat. 3-Bit had a good point yesterday talking about some of the combat looked a little off, like that one dragon spell where it was like swirling around the character. That one, I don't know if it was like a defense or an offense thing, but everything else as far as the combat where you could do like elemental combos and stuff like that, that looked pretty cool. So yeah, that's definitely on the list. But, man, I'm stuck trying to figure out what are my top 3. Like I have to expand it to 5 for the ones I'm looking forward to before the end of the year.
Yeah. Oh, like shoot, what's your top 5 then? Like
Stalker, Undisputed, which they were going to have their full release as well.
That's coming up really soon too.
Yeah. Flight Sim, Shattered Space, which I need to get into here pretty quick, and Diablo. But it's like outside of those, it's like Veilguard or the Dragon Age is right there. There's another one I can't think. Oh, Indiana Jones is right there. So it's like it's tough to just narrow it down. But like those are the main ones that I'm going to at least put the time into to at least get through some of the seasonal content, or at least the first half of the game. Because like with Undisputed, it's just going to be like, all right, I want to see the adjusted punch mechanic and a few of those things. Flight Sim, I'm going to do the same stuff I did in the original one, but I'm also going to see about getting out of the plane now at the airport, or seeing about skydiving over, Moab or Grand Canyon or something. And then when it comes to Starfield, Shattered Space, I'm going to try to see how far you could take it with Andrasia and what the whole, Serpent and the House of Varun, pathway is like Like if you're actually able to be part of that faction, because you couldn't be part of it before. So I'm curious to see if that's an updated thing as well. And yeah, Diablo. I got to see what this new season and the expansions like, what that map is going to be like. So yeah, it's tough, especially before the end of the year. Oh, and Call of Duty, because yeah, I love the campaign. So
man, there's so many games you could just melt hours into with all of these. Or like Dragon Age is going to be a big game, right? I'm super looking forward to that. I've really enjoyed every Dragon Age, and I haven't seen anything from this one to make me think I'm not going to. Right? I super, like you mentioned, Flight Sim, dude. Like it looks incredible, man. And there's so much from the people that have kind of seen it behind the scenes, and like even you can kind of tell the confidence they have when they're talking about it and showing it on their streams and stuff. Like, and the last one was so amazing too, that they've been working on this, and yeah, maybe it's gonna feel like more of a grander update to kind of what they've already been working on. But like for me, a game like that is like a very unique experience. You don't get that anywhere else or any way else, right? And it's coming to Xboxes, it's coming to PC day and date, and to Game Pass, and that is something that I feel like is going to get a lot of positivity when it launches, because it is going to be that kind of wow factor type game, right? And nobody's going to be able to say it's not a fucking game this time, right? They won't be able to take this game doesn't count because it's too sim, right? No, it's going to be a game. They're going to actually have races, and you can do all the job stuff and everything. It's very gamey this time, everybody. So you'll get that too. But then you add into there like Stalker 2. Fuck, that game's looking great. It's getting more positivity as well from people that are previewing it and stuff. Saying that they've really kind of took a hit in the next level with it at a certain point since earlier previews. And looking forward to that. Then you just talk about Diablo 4 Vessel of Hatred. I could sink how many hours into that? You know, like I'm already, anytime I start picking up Diablo again, it's like, shit, I'm going to be stuck playing this every day. Why did I do this? Why did I launch it? Why did I do this to myself?
Yeah, there are certain games on purpose, I'm like, I'm not playing this because I know I will like it.
Right.
Like, it's a problem.
Yeah, it's like, I was like, I just wanted to check out the last new season of Diablo, and I was like, I'm just going to check it out, just see what's going on. And then it was like, 2 days later, I'm like, oh shit, I haven't touched anything else. I'm like, put 10 hours into this, and I'm level 50. It's like, okay, I need to step away because I was trying to beat another game and play another game, right? So there's that. But then you mentioned Metaphor, which I had just played the demo of, and I had forgotten even to think about that one since we went live. But I actually think that game could be a contender for Game of the Year after playing that demo. Like it's absolutely incredible. Like Atlas just nailed it with the look, the story, the way the turn-based combat is structured again, but this is more the fantasy world, so it's like taking the parts I like from Persona but taking away the parts I didn't like and instead making it into more of what I'm into personally. So like this is going to be a potential game changer kind of game for me with Metaphor. But man, it's just like so many big games. I'm kind of in a way glad Assassin's Creed Shadows got delayed now because there's so much, but then you talk about, well, it's going to launch in the same month as Avowed. So fuck, that's not really helping me at all in that regard.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just interesting, man. Like there's just so much this last half of the year, and it's crazy how much is being dominated actually by Xbox with this. And it's gonna be interesting to see the reactions and of everybody who's been so negative about the moves that they've been making all year, right? To actually see this deluge of games and content coming, and everybody's going to be playing them. All these people that have been bitching about Xbox all year, guess what? Guess what they'll be doing? They'll be playing these games on their Xbox consoles or on PC.
Mhm.
and enjoying the content that they're getting into Game Pass day and date, much like they will be continuing to do the next generation on the new hardware or on PC, right? And nothing will have changed for them because there is going to be a lot of fucking games coming out that they will not be able to ignore. And it's like kind of like, let's be negative. Let's all be negative and talk like negatively all the time and raise concern and drama and all this stuff. But let's just quietly enjoy this shit ton of games that we're getting on PC, Game Pass, and on Xbox consoles on Game Pass just constantly. And let's not even talk about that. Let's play all these fucking games that are getting good reception and are awesome and quality and tons of different variety and different genres. And let's all play these games that we're actually getting, but we're not even going to talk about them. We're just still going to cause drama about Xbox.
Mhm.
It's just so weird. I mean, literally, that's what we've been having the last couple of weeks because we've actually already been getting these games. We've been getting these games. Nobody's been talking about them. Nobody's been talking about them in the community, man. And we're still getting more and more and more. But it is what it is, right?
That's when console is tied to identity, and it's
Yeah.
like how you release the game or where the game is released, where it gets into this counting thing of like I don't know, this is console war kind of nonsense.
And Nate Dogg says, or they could play them on their PS5 Pros. Hey, they could if they want to. Yeah, later when they come out for $70 after they buy the $700 PS5 Pro, they could do that if they want to play the game 6 months to a year later and pay more.
More power to them.
That's up to you, right? If that's your answer to like, hey, you know what? I don't need an Xbox because I can go pay a shit ton more money for each one of those games somewhere else than way later, then that's an answer for me. Hey, I'm happy to do that. Yeah, fuck, it doesn't make any damn sense. But anyway,
Microsoft is like, thank you for your support.
Yeah, and they're like,
hey, support the devs. Let's go.
They're like, go ahead, dumbass. I was like, oh no, oh my god, no, you're gonna buy the game for full price on another platform, and we still have our users and gamers on Xbox and PC. Oh my god, it's a horrible thing. It's it's so funny for people to act like they're in so much trouble and stuff like that all the time when they're like literally larger and have more shit than they ever have before, right? But anyway, it's just the world we live in today. So anyway, like for me, I can't pick. It's been really hard to. I always flip flop between Indiana Jones, now Metaphor's up there, Flight Sim. So I'd have to flip a coin, and then Dragon Age as well. But I'll probably roll with Indiana Jones right now.
Yeah,
Call of Duty. Fuck. Call of Duty. Oh my god, Call of Duty. Holy shit.
Oh yeah. Have you seen the newer Indiana Jones gameplay? That was at the Tokyo game. It was very brief, but they did show like new snippets. The fist combat, like the fact that you could like slap somebody, bro, so cool. I don't hear anyone like really talking about like there's like little things in there where they are seemingly making the first person experience like pretty cool. Like it's first person, yet it feels like kind of fluid. Like when it kind of switches to third person at certain times, like when he's climbing up a rope. I think I think there was one where he was going third person when he's sliding down, but the sliding down also looked very just like fun and seamless. But the punching mechanics, like because I remember seeing it in an interview somewhere, there was like, yeah, we don't want to really make this a shooter. It's more about like finding the things in your environment. Like you're gonna have guns and stuff, but it's more about like hey, Indiana Jones was like an improviser, so let me grab this hammer and I throw it at you and throw it at your head and beat you up with it, or use the whip to take away your weapon and punch you in the face. Like the last at the Tokyo Game Show, they just show little snippets, and I'm like, dang, this looks so cool.
Yeah.
Like, I'm liking what they're adding to the combat, like just making the combat feel very punchy. Yeah, it just
Yeah.
looks good.
Nate Dogg says, let's not forget Game Pass is like $240 a year. Yeah, exactly.
That's the
Like,
point. That's literally the
right. Like, there's okay. So, like, there's like 30 million Game Pass subscribers plus. There's more than 30 million now, right? And everybody's acting like, oh my God, they're in so much trouble and all these other kind of things. But, like, well, right. If you do the math, that's a lot of dollars, right? That they're raking in every fucking month from Game Pass. So they're good, right? It's interesting. Like I said, the metrics of success have changed. They are obviously looking at gaming very differently and are going to continue to do so. Whereas console war mentality always focuses on just that aspect still. But they're much larger than that. And for me as a consumer, when this news broke about other games going to PlayStation and stuff, I'm like, oh my God, that means I'm not going to be able to wait a second. I'm still going to be able to do that. Well, that means I'm not. Well, no, I'm still going to be able to do that. Well, but that means, oh, wait a second. Why should I be upset about anything? Because literally none of this actually affects me a damn bit whatsoever. Instead, actually, I'm just getting more games coming to Game Pass on the console that I prefer still anyway. Right.
I just find
So,
it's so crazy to me. Like when people talk about Game Pass, they're like, it's as if something happens in their brain where it's just like you can't buy games anymore. Like all of a sudden that part of Game Pass where you get major deals on games, like if you did want to purchase games and all that, like it just goes out the window because you're renting. One of the good things about Game Pass, besides the fact that you can just try a bunch of games for um, the games that are $70, just try it out, and if you like it, cool. If you don't, whatever. But there's also major discounts on games
mhm.
that are like let's say it's $70 if you got Game Pass, and it's like 50 or 60 or maybe even lower. Um, yeah, I don't know. It's almost disingenuous also to compare Game Pass to other services because it is the best service right now. Even with the price increase and things like that, I'm still saving so much money. Um, like just having Game Pass compared to something like PS Plus, like it's not even on the same level
Yeah.
of what it's offering in Game Pass day one compared to like something like PS Plus. Like the amount of games they even offer per month is it's overwhelming sometimes. So and I will say it's not for every person. Like if you're not even playing a lot of games and you don't even have the time to try all those games, cool. Maybe Game Pass is not for you and you would be saving money otherwise. But in my case, where I'm trying like, hey, let's try this game, let's try this game. I would be saving way more than what you mentioned per year. Um, like as opposed to me buying those games. So like for my personal gaming taste, it I'm saving way more like than the 200 or something a year. I'm probably if I were to buy the games I'm trying in Game Pass, it would be way more like 500, $800, maybe even more than that per year. So it's not even a contest.
Yeah. And it's so funny that like people are so worried about the companies as far as like still like, oh, are they winning or this and what metric and stuff? And I'm like, cool. I really just want them to do more for me, regardless of
Yep,
really what
I'm
place they're
selfish.
in and whichever metric it is. Like, I just want to play the fucking games, right?
Yeah, be selfish for you. Like like that's kind of how I look at it in a lot of ways. I get to play Call of Duty and Game Pass rather than buy it. And I will always look at things from a consumer point of view, which is why I despise a lot of PlayStation's business practices, like personally. Um just like a lot of things Xbox does, this saves me money. That is why I'm on Xbox. And I'm like, cool. Like,
Yeah.
I just look at it from a consumer point of view. If it's more convenient for me, then that's the route
Right.
I will most likely go.
Yeah. I would literally be buying Stalker 2. I would be buying Flight Simulator. I would be buying Indiana Jones. I would be buying let's see, what else was there? Call of Duty, right? I am playing Shattered Space and Vessel of Hatred because I paid for the $30 upgrade, the $35 upgrade to premium, which otherwise I would have bought those games for with the premium thing for what was it, $100 if you didn't get the
I think I
$30
bought the
upgrade or
premium.
whatever.
I can't remember.
I like Aura, I didn't have to buy that. I would have bought that. Age of Mythology Retold, I would have bought that, and I didn't have to buy that. Right? Every single one of those games. So I've saved just in these
Aura
games.
is 60. Let's just do Aura is 60 at least on Steam.
Yeah, it's $60. Age of Mythology Retold is I think 40 or 50. I can't remember. Can't remember on that one.
What was the second one you said?
Age of Mythology Retold.
Okay. Age.
And we're just talking about games that are launching like late August or early September
We're
into
talking
the
about,
end of the
like,
year.
Recent.
Right.
That's not even counting the whole year. Age of Mythology. Okay, that one is that one's only 30, so that's pretty good.
Yeah. So $30 plus what was it, 60? So that's 90.
Yep.
And so then what's next on the Xbox docket?
I mean,
Oh,
again, Metaphor is coming up, so I'll be playing that.
so yeah, but that's not Game Pass. So you're gonna have to.
Well, I'm gonna buy that one. So
Yeah, that's 70
Indiana
probably.
Jones.
I'm sure. Indiana Jones, I'd buy 100%. 70. Call of Duty is another 70.
That's 70. Indiana Jones is 70. Okay.
Yeah.
Call of Duty is most likely 70.
Flight Sim,
What is
probably 70. I'm guessing.
Was the last one 70?
I don't know, but I know because they didn't do $70 games yet when the last one came out.
Oh yeah, they got 70 and the deluxe is 100. For Flight Sim. So
that's just there's more. I'm trying to think.
you played Robo. Well, you bought RoboCop. What
I know
else
I'm
is-
missing. I know I'm
Stalker
missing
2.
one. Soccer 2, yes, that was it.
Stalker 2. So
Which is probably another $70 game.
it is actually 60.
60?
Well,
Hey, $60. Not sure.
it looks like it's 60. Yeah, people say it's 60. So
just in those games, but this isn't counting like also Frostpunk 2, which I just hit PC Game Pass, which I would have bought probably. I just haven't had enough time to play as much because of the other games. Fuck, man.
it
That doesn't include anything for the first half of the year. Any other
No,
third-party day and date
we're
games?
just
or any-
counting like recent. But there's
Oh,
a ton of
Dragon
games.
Age, you get a discount. The Jasper, yeah, you get a discount on Dragon Age because it's EA, so you get the EA Play discount.
Oh yeah,
So you get 10% off of there. So we'll throw that. So it's $70. So it's $7 savings. $7.
So
At-
just
You save $7.
70.
Yeah,
Or
so it'd be if
170.
you have Game Pass Ultimate, it'd be
So
$62.99.
it's like 60.
Yeah.
64 or 60.
Thanks, Jasper.
Okay, I'm gonna add all this up so you can keep talking while I add this up.
Oh man, it's I'm trying to think of everything. Like Jasper bringing in the little bits of discounts, which is another factor people don't even talk about.
Yeah, that's
this
what I
kind of
was
stuff.
mentioning.
Yeah. Which I also saved money on Madden this year, which also came out recently. So I saved $7 on that one also.
Okay, Madden.
So seven plus that's $14 just between those two, right?
Well,
And if you get CD keys, you can get Game Pass Ultimate for $11.
with just like not even adding Madden. Let's say Aura, Age Untold, Indiana Jones, Call of Duty, Flight Sim, Stalker 2, Frostpunk, and Dragon Age. You're already looking at $482
Wow.
worth of games. So,
and those are all this is just day and date games. That doesn't include anything else. Like stuff like the Mana games that just hit that it might end up spending some time with, or like
that's why I'm like, it depends on the type of gamer you are. Because I think everybody on this panel just likes to jump around.
Did you add Call of Duty?
Yeah, I added.
Okay.
Wouldn't you do the $100 edition though, the Vault edition or something?
Well, no, because I gotta pay for the $35 difference for that, right? So yeah, it still saved me the $70 though.
People can look at my math, see if I'm correct.
All I know is with Microsoft rewards points, there was a time where if you bought like, I think it was like 4 or maybe it was 6 games a year and did like their, Bing search, that would pretty much cover you for, what do you call it? For Game Pass Ultimate, the 3-month cards, especially if you're tier 2. Around the holidays, it drops from 35,000 points to 28,000 points or so. And that's when I usually load up on the Game Pass Ultimate cards and things. So
right,
yeah. And if I remember, I did the math on like how much money I saved. Like I did this last year. I should do it again this year just to see like all the games I played this year. Strictly through Game Pass, didn't buy it. I remember it totaled up to like almost $800. No idea what it is now, but I counted like this because I play a bunch of like smaller games too, like a game like Ace Attorney. Like, oh, let me try this and try this. It added up to almost like $800. So like, yes, you would be paying 200 or something. Whoever said that a year. A lot of people in chat are mentioning like CD keys and stuff, getting that even for cheaper. Or some people stack it too. I think Fuzzy stacked it. I stacked it for a little bit, but it finally ran out. So I'm like, dang, now I'm paying.
And I don't know about you guys, but I'm probably getting more like 10 to 15, maybe even $20 a month in Microsoft rewards just from playing games and doing the things. And they're like, I don't even really try. I just go to the app like and just click on the thing, claim rewards, and it's like I'm not really paying too much attention to it. But if you spend money after you've been playing it on Xbox a lot of time, what I love most is they kind of reverted back to giving you the good like cash. It's almost like reward points back for your purchases. So that's the way it was when they originally launched Microsoft Rewards, and you were pretty much getting 10% back. It seems like it's kind of pretty much the same thing again now, as they've reverted away from the other system that they had for several years. And so I'm getting reward points on if I'm renting movies or if I'm buying games or anything. And I'm accumulating probably 15 to $20 at least for me in Microsoft Rewards that I'm using towards those same things, games and movies as well. How does PlayStation's Rewards app going? How's it? I'm just curious.
If I remember right, it was okay. So for comparison's sake, I think it's 6,000 points for a $60 purchase on Xbox.
They did change it a little bit because I remember you did get even more a while ago. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I think you get 6,000 points for every $60 purchase. With PlayStation, I think it's something like $10 for every 200 you spend or something like that. Like it's completely lopsided. Like if I'm not mistaken, if you want to get a free game, you're spending more than $1,500 or close to $1,500 to get a free $70 game. So yeah. I think with Xbox, it's like you buy a console, or if you buy, let's say you buy 10 games, you're getting one free kind of thing. I think that's how it averages out. But the PlayStation rewards, it used to make more sense if you were buying like a place or a Sony TV, or if you had the Sony credit card. But even then, it's like I had it for a bit. It wasn't worth it to me. Like,
the value to me hasn't been comparable for a long time, like in terms of
Yeah.
Sony, and that's just because like business wise, their business is different. It's formed different, of like what their goals are, and that in turn affects their pricing structure of their games itself, which leads to me as a consumer either having to pay more or, um, it is what it is. Like I don't think that's um like console warring or anything like that. I just think that's like a fact. I think we can see that in several scenarios. Like, even with Horizon, for example, like they had the new Horizon remaster. What did they do to the old one? They upped the price of the original game. Like just little things like that. Sony tends to do, and I'm like, okay, well, I don't like that. So I go where the value is. So I go where can I get the deal. PC has a ton of great deals usually on Steam. Tends to have like a ton of deals in their marketplace. Even Epic has been trying pretty dang hard, and I feel like out of all the marketplaces of like pricing games at like a lower cost, I would say Xbox and Steam are right there. They do a really good job. Nintendo tries to never down price their games. Like I can't, you can, what was Mario Kart probably still $60? The game came out a long time ago. They never down the prices of the games, and then Sony just does shady stuff too. So Xbox, Steam just tends to be the way to go. A lot of people in the chat mentioned like CD keys and things like that. So yeah, I just go where the value is, and that's where if you're a consumer and you want to save some money, uh PlayStation with their premium messaging, that is not probably not the way to go for third party games.
Well, maybe you'll eventually finally get one of those games again that is sold as that level of experience. Ghost of Tsushima or 2 or Ghost of Yotai or Yote looks to
Mhm.
be the next big game, and I'm excited for that. That one I'll have some FOMO on, right?
Mhm.
I will, right? Because I think it's gonna be an awesome game. But I'm not any more excited for that one than I am a lot of the other games coming out this year for Xbox, because it's just personal taste and what you like and the genres and variety of games that you like, right? But yeah, I will look forward to that one. I'm hoping that I don't feel the urge or need to go get a PlayStation again for it, but we'll see. We'll see. I don't know how it pans out, but
Maybe,
they'll
maybe
need
it'll come to
more.
PC day and date.
Yeah, I'm not holding my breath on that one yet. Yeah, I'm thinking maybe like a year, right now,
Yeah.
and then eventually I think they'll get there, but not. I don't think yet. Not on that game. Um, because I think they're going to try and use it as like, see, we still love our console gamers, and we have these kinds of games, and this is what PlayStation's all about, and they're going to use it as this big marketing thing, and then later they'll just do it anyway with their other games, right?
Mhm.
But it'll be a big game, I think, and it's going to be exciting game, I think. Man, we went long because of the other crazy topic that went earlier. But I want to quickly get into this other information that came out from Ubisoft. I had a stream yesterday. Was it yesterday that I did this or day before? I can't even fucking remember. Yeah,
The Ubisoft stream?
yesterday. Yeah, yesterday I had a Mavcast. And I was talking about Ubisoft and talking about like what's really going on there and how they kind of sabotage themselves with their way that they've been doing business for years and leading with the wrong thought processes about kind of the what we ranted on before, right? For and had streams and conversations about before. And they kind of led into this spot where I think people have just kind of like lost faith in the Ubisoft name, right? They just kind of if you see Ubisoft now, it's like, oh, okay, well, I'm not expecting something special, right? And that on the contrast to what they used to be, where they had these really great IP and brands and games that people thought were awesome, and it's kind of like now they've all kind of been tainted a little bit because of what Ubisoft has been doing for the last several years. Even if they have good quality, even if
Yeah.
the game is good, it's still that lack of excitement around them now. But there's been literally right after I did my stream, Splinter Cell news dropped on Game Rant. It was shared on Twitter, This is by Dominic Bosniak on Game Rant. Says a leaker shares bittersweet news for Splinter Cell fans. Splinter Cell remake has reportedly been internally delayed due to being in bad shape. Ubisoft is rumored to be working on a Splinter Cell Blacklist remaster, though, which was originally meant to be announced in July. The current status of that project is unclear. So the article says a Splinter Cell remake has been eternally delayed, according to a new report from a well-known insider. However, it's not all bad news for Splinter Cell fans. Ubisoft announced the remake of the first Splinter Cell game in December 2021. Not much has officially been said about the project ever since, with fans still waiting for the company to show any gameplay from the upcoming title. Ubisoft reportedly working on 2 Splinter Cell projects. An unofficial update on the matter was recently offered by Brazilian journalist Pedro Henrique Lutelipe. That's a name. Pedro Henrique Lutelipe, who claimed that the much anticipated Splinter Cell remake has been eternally delayed, citing sources familiar with the matter. But the insider also shared some good news for fans of the franchise. Having said that, Ubisoft is supposedly working on another Splinter Cell project, a remaster of Splinter Cell Blacklist. The original plan was for this game to be released in 2024, and the company was intending to announce it in July, as per the same source. Why that purported plan didn't come to pass is presently unclear. Okay, so the biggest news from this for me, because Ubisoft games are always in fucking turmoil, right? And always getting delayed behind the scenes before we actually even see them. But it's just what Ubisoft is now, right? It's just come to expect that. And also from most big game publishers, honestly, how many times do we not hear of one of these big franchise games being like, oh, trouble going on behind the scenes in development? We hear that all the time. I'm not going to let that dampen my excitement for Splinter Cell remake. I think we'll see it when they show it, but it does kind of suck to hear that kind of news. But hey, on the side note, a Splinter Cell Blacklist remake or remaster, like what? Like that's an interesting one, right? That is the last Splinter Cell game to come out. But is it? I have a question. Is that the one that you would choose to be remastered?
No, I feel like they're doing it because it's the most recent, and it's easier for them to just modernize that. It's all money, man. That kind of sucks. It is kind of a new because it was like Conviction, and then after that was Blacklist, right? Or
yes,
mixing that. That was like the most recent Splinter Cell.
It was the one that didn't have Michael Ironside. Also, they had the different voice actor that sounded really young, right? I think he did a fine job as voice acting, but it was just too drastic of a different voice for Sam Fisher. It wasn't going with that same kind of grizzled, gritty kind of guy, you know?
Yeah, they're clearly doing it because it's just like oh, this was the most recent one. It's a little bit easier to make it look more modern. It just is. It's kind of sad because the stealth genre itself is kind of dying out. Not a lot of developers are trying out the stealth genre because they feel like a lot of people don't have the attention for it, which is kind of proven in games like Hitman. Whatever, people try it for like 2 seconds, like I'm not feeling it. But I don't know. Like I think a lot of people. I don't think anybody asked for Blacklist to be remastered. No one realistically was asking for that. It's all about priority and
well, out of all of them, it holds up the best too because it's like is more recent, so it is in the less need of a remaster, and it's also even though it was praised and it's a great game, I love it. It's an awesome game, but it's also out of all of them probably still my least favorite. Even though it's still great, I love all the other Splinter Cells, probably just a little bit more, right?
Yeah.
I think Double Agent for some was kind of like a low point in the series. For me, I love Double Agent.
I loved all three, like the Double Agent, the first one, Chaos Theory.
So you had the original Splinter Cell, then you had Pandora Tomorrow, then you had Chaos Theory, then you had Double Agent, then you had Conviction, and then you had Blacklist.
Yeah,
that's the order.
I pretty much loved all of them. The Blacklist was like the one I really didn't try as much, which is funny that that's the one there. deciding. Um, yeah, I mean, honestly, I will still try it if it does come down to that, if that rumor is true. Just because I missed that franchise so much. But what is with these developers starting to remaster games that are like the newest entry in the franchise, or like not that old, or games that don't need to be remastered keep being remastered?
Yeah, so Blacklist still looks good. It plays well, right? Like I'm gonna say it could be great if they do it. They could do excellent. I would say replace the voice actor with somebody that
I just remember the first one where like you have the darkness meter, and you like are just like waiting for someone like come down, and like you had, I remember the physics of like the plastic cloth thing. I was like, oh, that's so cool back in the day. Like that in modern day technology would be way more impressive than Blacklist, which already looks pretty good. It's just like, come on, man. But overall, I'm still going to try. I've been waiting for a new Splinter Cell game, like right up here with everybody, for a minute. And hopefully, if this does well, then maybe they can kind of go in and start remastering maybe the other ones. So it could be like this a ripple effect in a way of Ubisoft just like okay, what is the worth nowadays of people who really like Splinter Cell? Do they really like Splinter Cell? For the people who really like Splinter Cell, they should get this game regardless, just to be like, hey, we still want Splinter Cell, because all we've been seeing of Splinter Cell nowadays is Sam Fisher in like is like a chibi character, or like a cartoon, or DLC to in another game. It was like almost like disrespectful,
right?
To put him in. I'm like, bro, this is the Sam Fisher. You're making him like a skin in your game, like, bruh. But yeah, we'll see.
AJH has Blacklist. Yeah, the stealth game set during the fucking day. That was it was like there was some nighttime in there too, but like it was like a lot of daytime. I remember playing that too. I was like, what?
All I remember is the sandy desert daytime. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Again, I never got.
You're going into buildings and stuff, so you're still playing with shadows and stuff like that at some, but like, yeah, it was like the pretty much the community, the Splinter Cell community holds chaos theory at a level at like it's like the holy grail game, right? For Splinter Cell. And if you're gonna do any of them like as a remaster, then I would do that one, right? But it is, I mean, I guess it is what it is, you know. We'll see. I'll be excited for it if it comes out. I just wish if they were treating and putting that effort into one, it was one of the others, you know. But anyway,
get rid of Guillemot. Get rid of Guillemot.
Yeah. Yeah, the whole Guillermo family, like I don't know. I think they're on their last leg. They've taken every lifeline they could, right? They've been trying to hold off hostile takeovers of the company for a very long time now. Like originally it was Vivendi, I believe, was trying to do a hostile takeover. They managed to do some trickery and stuff and fend that off. And then they were running into trouble financially recently. In recent years, when their stocks had already plummeted, and people were talking about how low they are now. I mean, they're talking. This is a low point from when they've already been extremely low, right? So their stocks have went really crazy down. When some others had gone up after COVID and all that other kind of stuff, some were able to withstand the fall off and increase. Not Ubisoft. Theirs had tanked already, and it's tanked from that point now even further, mainly because of Star Wars Outlaws and now the Assassin's Creed Shadows delay, right? But yeah, Eve's bro, like you've been an arch nemesis of mine for a long time, and like I beforehand, you know, I was like, yeah, Ubisoft needs to keep their independence and stuff from being acquired by somebody else, and because they were still making those kind of games. But then the more you hear Eve's talk and realize how their thought processes and the company and the direction they go. It's like they need some new direction there badly. But they've taken every lifeline. They did what they did before to fight off the Vivendi takeover. Then when they looked like they were potentially going to be acquired again or get into some trouble, the Eves family, who owns the largest shares of Ubisoft, right, sold 40. I think it was 50, around 50% of their shares of their company, the Eves company, which is separate than Ubisoft, is like the company that they own that owns the shares of Ubisoft, right?
Mhm.
So, which is the largest shareholder is the Eves company. They sold half of their company to Tencent, right? I can't remember if it was 49% or 51% or whatever, but I remember it came out that it was like they were going to be like a silent partner, and the Eves family was still going to be like the people making the decision at the table, right? So that happened. That was their last lifeline. When you sell half of your own personal company that owns the shares of Ubisoft, that was your last lifeline. Now that the stock has plummeted even more, because Tencent either did this for two reasons. They were like, we smell blood in the water. We're going to give them this money now so we can take advantage of this later. Or they were thinking things are going to improve, and they're not going to be happy now, right? So one of the two options. So where does the Gamma family turn to now? Where do they turn to now that they're at a dangerously low level? From only reason I don't think they're actually acquired by somebody now is because nobody wants that shit show of a company. They're looking at it like, what the fuck are we gonna do with this? Look at like 20,000 employees that are running around with their chicken's head cut off, and they got a horrible culture, and they can't even figure out what games to make or how to make them. And like, what the fuck are we gonna do with this piece of shit? And you know how much it costs to run this horrible company? It's like 20,000 idiots running around there. And I'm just kidding. They're not all idiots. I'm sure there's a lot of great people, but like ran by idiots. So it's like, what are you gonna do? Like, that's just like asking for you to bleed money. Hey, let's acquire this company so we can sabotage ourselves. Like nobody wants to do that, right? So I don't know what they can do. But whoever gets them, if they do end up selling, it's probably going to be massive changes, right? And you're gonna see a lot of even more turmoil and streamlining and separating stuff away out and tons of stuff. But it's pretty interesting, pretty crazy. We'll see what they end up doing. But at this point, I think it's kind of the writing's on the wall, and maybe um, change is needed, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just want Splinter Cell to happen still. Whatever we got to do to make that happen.
Yeah, at this point, we're desperate. Just give us something. Because, like, goodness gracious, I think the main problem of Ubisoft is we talk about this on on Pixelated Echoes and stuff. Main problem is them taking franchises and just thinking that like let's chase after industry trends and completely just erase the identity of these games. Honestly, I feel like that's what it is.
Yeah.
You take like the name of Tom Clancy and put it in a game where you start putting spray paint and all this different stuff and like, you know, that's not Tom Clancy. Tom Clancy has always been about strategy in games of how do you take a team with the tools you have. You're on the opposite side of like maybe breaking into a building, implementing stealth. Like, what is the best way to approach this mission? And what they've turned it into is like, let's make it open world action, diving into bushes, stuff like that. Like they just treat the audience like they can that people don't have the attention spans to enjoy what the previous genres are, leading to the mainstream media thinking like, oh, this is what it should be nowadays. This is what games should be, basically defining the genres for games for us, instead of going back and realizing why people love those games in the first place. So
well, it's interesting. I mean, I'm still excited for Assassin's Creed Shadows. I think they're having developer issues with bugs. Apparently, mostly is what's been going on. They may. There's another report that came out today from Insider Gaming that they may be making some changes for the make people that are upset about the culture issues with Japan and stuff happy. Cool. If they're doing that as well, that's fine. I think ultimately that it just wasn't getting pre-ordered as much as they wanted, and they need this game to hit, right? And so they got to make sure that the launch is as good as possible now. So we'll see how good Assassin's Creed Shadows when it comes out. I'm super excited for it, but yeah, it'll be February. I'm gonna have to make a decision, that or Avowed. I tell you, like I'll wait on Assassin's Creed if it comes out the same day as or the same week as Avowed. I'll play Avowed first for sure. But anyway, we only got one more segment of the show now, guys. I think
I don't know how this is gonna work.
I think I don't know something ready.
Okay, I was gonna ask you, like, hey, I sprung it on you guys that we're changing to Restream instead of OBS. But I do have still this. Everybody, check this out. This is Tidbits, the segment where we look ahead at the games releasing for the week. I still need to accept that thing you put up there again, Buzz. My bad.
Okay.
We'll see how this works. Doing this live.
Yeah, we're rolling with it.
So I know you can. Oh, you can actually share screens and stuff. That's cool.
Yeah.
Your camera too.
I'm trying to make sure there was nothing else that I had on the docket for conversation. Yeah, we had. I think we covered everything.
Yeah, dude. Let's see what we got.
What's going on with Stash? I was talking to the chat, I guess, while Fuzzy's getting his shit together.
Yeah.
Shout out to Stash Gordon. Clancy Estate has to be wondering what the fuck, unless they're creating problems somehow. I can't figure it out. Yeah, the Clancy Estate. I wonder how they feel about the rights being sold. Seeing what Ubisoft is now doing with them, right? That being said, there's some cool stuff. Also, like Amazon has that like Without Remorse movie was really good. So I don't know what happens there, because I know that Ubisoft owns the gaming rights, so I don't know about the rights to the other stuff. Oh, it's already there. Okay, Fuzz, I didn't see it.
I'm sorry.
Here we go. I was trying to figure out how this is working. We're figuring this out, everybody.
Wait, do you want me to restart it, or is
yeah, we can. Okay. Can we restart it?
Yeah.
And then I'm trying to get rid of the chat. Okay, here we go. It's like
in the beginning.
It's like cutting in and out. I think for me. Is it cutting in and out for you, Fuzzy? Or for you, 3-bit?
Yeah.
Maybe I should mute it, or.
Yeah, I would just mute it.
All right, this is Shattered Space, out right now. $29.99 if you don't have Game Pass, $26.99 if you do, or if you did the Ultimate Edition, you're already good. It was part of the Ultimate Edition where you got the early access and the art book and everything.
Yep. I did the upgrade, so I got to install it for free.
Yeah.
It was a lot of positivity from people that have been playing this today. A lot of people really liking it. So we'll see more and more as people have gotten further into it. And I'm curious about what everybody's thoughts are going to be. And if anybody's played it in the chat, tell me what you think.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, I think you have to complete an early on mission. It's like the first step, which I think is once you become part of the constellation. I think once you do that, the next time you grab jump, you should get a notification.
Yes, like you do, but don't grab jump directly into a planet. You got to grab jump into a system because I think the way it works is you get hailed by another ship.
Yeah.
It's like a just like a distress call or whatever.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's but this is like interesting because it's like all kind of like self-contained into like the Varun planet, right?
Mhm.
The House Varun planet. And so they did a lot more handcrafted content and stuff in a larger area for this game, which is like I think in direct feedback towards what some people wanted to see from Starfield that
Yeah.
had missed out on that kind of stuff. So they're kind of bringing that to those typical Bethesda fans, I think. But yeah, it's looking awesome.
And
Yeah.
you're not stuck to the planet. You can travel away
Yeah.
mid-mission and all that and not have to worry. Now, this next one is Throne and Liberty, coming to PS5, Series X and S, as well as PC Tuesday. It's a free to play, but they have like on console, they have a couple of different packages. Like the standard pack, I think is like $39.99. Gives you some crafting stuff, as well as some points and other rewards and stuff to get started. And then they have one that goes up to like $100. That's going to give you a lot more of the crafting stuff and points and things like that.
So what kind of game is it exactly? Like
It's I believe it's an MMO, although I don't know
Okay.
if they actually show gameplay for this one, but it is geared to be like an MMO.
I saw it on the store today. I was looking through the Xbox store and I
Mhm.
saw like an ad for it there and I was like, what is that? Right? But I didn't I was messing around with getting Shattered Space installed, so
Yeah.
I didn't actually go and click on it. But looking at this gameplay here, here's some it looks like an MMO kind of fantasy RPG.
Mhm.
Looks pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Big Mad Mo says MMO PvP VE.
Mm.
Jasper says this was a mobile game, I think.
Mm.
I don't know. Maybe. Is Amazon Games?
It looked like they were one of I guess they're the publisher for it.
Right.
Now, this next one is Master Detective Archives Raincode Plus, which I guess it has like two parts to it, but it's going for $59.99 on PS5, Series X and S, as well as PC. Comes out Tuesday as well.
Interesting. There's another game that's kind of like a detective game that just came out, like Shadow of Doubt or something like that.
Mhm.
Has anybody checked that out in the chat? Because I was actually curious about that one. It looks pretty interesting. It's like kind of like the game like evolves and kind of like what do you call it when a game is like developing as you play it, like the world is random, you know?
Oh, I guess it's just the world progression or something, or
Yeah. Anyway, I'm having my mind's fried. But yeah, anyway, the world's like creating itself basically dynamically and stuff like that. Supposedly in that Shadow of Doubt.
evolving. That's right.
Yeah. This one looks interesting.
Yeah.
Man, the quality is shit on the video playback in this thing. I'm just gonna say.
I think it might be because
You-
screen from my YouTube.
I think it's just because it's like I remember back in the day when we tried to do like a co-stream. Remember it? We tried
Yeah.
to co-stream for like one of the showcases, and it was like doing this, and we are like, we can't do this shit. Like,
Yeah. We just I think that's one of the reasons why we stopped using Restream. Was because for our showcases, like where it's beneficial from what I remember was like, oh, we can all watch it at the same time. Like I'm seeing everything you're doing right now. But it was like kind of skippy sometimes.
right?
Mhm.
Yeah, maybe it's because it's at 1440.
Yeah, I think it's defaulting to my monitor size or my
Okay.
default size. So I put it to 1080. Maybe that will.
Yeah, we're figuring this out as we go, everybody. We could have tried to actually be professional and get this stuff
You
ironed
guys
out
are test
beforehand.
subjects. You'll be fine.
Mech Warrior 5.
Yeah, this one is Mech Warrior 5 Clans coming to PS5, Series X and S, as well as PC. It doesn't have a price listed on any other places. It still says the wish list, but I'm guessing it's going to be around $29.99 because it seems like that's what that publisher releases a lot of their games at to start.
Right.
Looks like they use MetaHuman for their faces.
Developer speak. Scorpio said, yes, thank you. Procedurally generated. That is exactly the words I was looking for. My brain was like, what am I trying to say? What are the actual words? Procedurally generated, world and Shadow of Doubt, supposedly. Which is interesting for like a detective kind of game. It's like a pixely style a little bit too. So kind of curious about that one. This looks good, man. Like a mech, but like I didn't know it was all the top-down stuff with Mech Warrior. That was interesting seeing that. It's like not to be confused with Mech Assault or what was the Armored Core?
Yeah,
There's so many like mech franchises now, but I'm watching this gameplay. I'm like, okay, it almost looks like Chrome Houndsy right now with building the mech like that.
Yeah.
Y'all remember
variety
Chrome
of
Hounds?
weapons. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm getting slight Chrome Hounds vibes from this game. I haven't really played too much Mech Warriors. And I'm watching this and I'm thinking maybe I should have been playing some Mech Warriors.
I was always a Robotech man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where does Mech Warriors stand on the whole mech franchises? Isn't it kind of like, I mean, there was a lot of hype around Armored Core, but nobody's talking about Mech Warrior 5.
Yeah. All right. Now this next one is
Kill Knight. Ooh.
Yeah, Kill Knight coming to PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Series X and S, Switch, and PC for $14.99.
This looks nice. I like the graphics and the font they're using.
Yeah, it looks pretty good, man. This game I've actually had my eye on for a while because we've seen this at a couple different showcases, and every time I've seen it, it stood out. So, but yeah, it is hitting this week. So this is one I may end up actually getting. Yeah. We'll see. It's like, is it a roguelike?
I think so. It has that like twin stick and roguelike, almost like Hades kind of vibe going to it.
Yeah, it looks so good, man. Kill Knight. I saw this. I don't remember if this was at the Future Game shows or the Xbox shows or whatever, but I've seen this game probably 3 times show up. Got leaderboards too. Cool. Wreck total carnage. Carnage 15,000. Carnage 18,800. Kill the last angel. Yeah, this game looks. It kind of like is a mix of genres there too, because you got some like bullet hell type stuff going on.
Yeah, dig that.
Nice. Place high.
I dig that.
All right, this next one is another remaster, Until Dawn, a 2024 remake, only for PS5 and PC this Friday for $59.99.
Now, I'm going to go ahead and be on record of saying this, okay? I have never seen a more pointless remaster ever. Now, there's been some pointless ones, right? But this one is the most pointless remaster I have seen yet. Why? Why does this exist? Was people complaining about the way the other one looked or played or felt or anything? Why did it go? Why was it nighttime in the one scene and on the new version it's fucking daytime?
Yeah.
I was literally just talking to Fuzzy. I'm like, when you start remastering games that wasn't that old to begin with, you start making art direction decisions, which can really either turn people off. You're like, oh, this is cool, or whatever. You basically make decisions like this, where you're like, oh, it used to be blue.
It's a
Let's make it
different fucking
orange.
scene. Why are they like showing like that's not even a comparison? What are you doing? Why? Why do you exist?
Oh, look, they changed-
PlayStation need that money, yo.
It's just crazy. A
Uh,
remaster from PlayStation, because technically it's PlayStation deal. I forget that this is another remaster thing they're kind of helping with.
mhm.
My goodness gracious!
Did they just
I
like
love the first
pick a
game. It's
fucking
just-
like bucket and put a bunch of games that they have that came out in recent years into it and pick one and say, let's remaster this motherfucker? Like I can't figure out who thought it was a good idea.
Hiroki Totoki. No, it was before I think he was in charge, but yeah, somebody over there wanted that low hanging fruit to be remastered so they can get some more money.
Herman Hulse was like, guys, 2024 is gonna be fire. We got fucking Concord and Until Dawn remastered coming out. Holy shit. The world's gonna be so excited.
All right, this one here is Sword Art Online, Fractured Daydream, coming to PS5, Series X and S, Switch, and PC for $59.99.
This is
This is
this is a popular franchise. It's a popular anime, something that's been going on for a long time. And
Yeah, I
another
watched
game.
all of it.
You watched all of it?
Yeah, I don't remember that green guy though, unless they did a new season or something.
Man, it's weird without sound. But like,
Yeah.
I know that if we have the sound, it's going to be as choppy as the video. I'll try to figure out. Like, I know that there's a way that I can upload the clips, but like then we got to download them all, and that's a pain in the ass and stuff.
That's what I do for PXE. I download all the clips.
Yeah, I used to do that, and it's like
it could be a pain for sure.
because you got to upload each one, you got to wait for that, and it's like you're uploading to a server too, so it's like not like
it is what it is.
Yeah.
I could probably share my screen. It might work better because it would be like my feed going into it.
I am glad that they're adding co-op to this game, but Sword Art Online is one of those games where it's just like it would really benefit from them just going all out on that game. Like, because the type of game it is supposed to be you being sucked into a video game, and then the person, it's like, whoa, I'm now living inside of a video game. So it's like an MMO. It should be like an MMO type experience. But
Right.
we'll see
SpongeBob, another SpongeBob games. This is Patrick something, right?
Yeah, Patrick Star Game, coming to PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Series X and S, Switch, and PC for $39.99 this Friday.
Awesome. SpongeBob games are actually usually pretty good.
Yeah.
Apparently, I played a little bit of one of them before, but every time the a SpongeBob game comes out, people are like, "Wow, this is actually a great game! It's fire! It's like this should be like talked about by many people of how amazing it is." Oh, was that pinball?
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's freaking cool.
Why do we need banjo when we have this? Look at it. It's like coming everywhere.
Yes. And same thing with, this one is only PS5 and Series X and S. No PC, no last gen.
Oh, they cut off NHL from last gen.
Yeah.
Wow. There's going to be a deluge of Canadians buying next gen consoles now.
Hey, they can pick up that Series S for pretty cheap. It's probably going to be the only console they can get for under $500 Canadian dollars. So I can't imagine what a PS5 or even a Series X is over there right now.
I remember for a while in Canada, NHL was the top sports game, right? I mean, obviously NHL is very popular there, period, right?
Yeah.
But I have a friend that I played NHL a lot with, and eventually he got sucked into Madden too. But it was like NHL, right? And he's Canadian, right? Yeah, with it being next gen only, I actually think there will probably be an uptick of next gen console sales in Canada because of that. It'll be kind of like the NCAA or college football effect, right?
Yeah.
Here.
All right.
Is that it?
And that's it.
Oh,
Nice. That sucked without sound. But well, I'll figure it out. I'll brainstorm. I'll figure it out, everybody. I will. I'll make an effort. I'll put some effort into something. Figure it out. Everybody, this was fun though. On this episode of FSP, $659.99 plus tax for a Series X in Canada.
it's crazy, man.
Wow. Anyway, yeah, it is crazy. Well, hey, Fuzzy, I don't know what happened to Psycho. He like disappeared and never returned.
I keep logging out.
Yeah, he like disappeared and never returned. Shout out to Psycho, miss you, bro. But anyway, hope you have a good night, Psycho.
Yeah.
Follow him on Twitter, Psychonauts8. But hey, Fuzzy, thanks for being on your third show of the day, I think, with me here tonight on FSP. Tell everybody where they can find you.
As always, this is always fun to do. Love being on here with you guys. Love hearing your thoughts on the gaming space in general, and everybody in the chat. Thank you guys for coming out. Greatly appreciate you guys taking the time to check us out and interacting with us. Don't forget, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already. Greatly appreciate it. And then for those that want to hear my rambles and rants on anything gaming related, just follow me on the app formerly known as Twitter at @fuzzy_Belvedere. And then hope to see you guys right back here for Friday for Xbox Ultimate at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Same place, same channel. Hope to see you guys there.
Right on, man. Appreciate it, Fuzzy. And the one and only 3-Bit. What about you, bro?
Yeah, everyone can follow me on Twitter at i3bit. I will never call it X. Screw that. Always be Twitter. i3bit is where you guys can find me. I do this show every Monday. We have the new time now, so come in around, what was it, 9 something?
9 Eastern. Yeah.
9 Eastern time to this show. Appreciate everybody in the chat. You guys were killing it. And then I'm also on Pixelated Echoes every Sunday with Fuzzy at 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. So see you guys then. I try to make Fridays when I can. Might make special appearances Friday. We'll see. And yeah, I will be giving probably my RoboCop review this week on my Twitter. I'll make a post about it. See what you guys. I will actually break down as if I'm a reviewer, an objective reviewer of what I like about the game. Because someone they won't do it, I might do it just for this one game.
Go for it, bro.
So if you're interested in that, all the shenanigans, that's where you guys can find me. Mav, please tell people where they can find you, brother.
Hey, Fun Speculation on Twitter. Also look for the Xbox Ultimate, which will be at 9 p.m. Eastern time on Friday, PM in the PM Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern time with Pong Soul and I. And then you can catch out game streams randomly here on the channel, or also maybe some Mavcast or podcast or whatever, whenever the mood strikes me. But I appreciate everybody here hanging out, and thanks for being here always, everybody. And if you're an audio listener, shout out to you as well. And hope you enjoy the content. Leave a review on your favorite audio platform. It helps people find us there as well. And I hope you all have an amazing night. And I'm still learning this new stuff. So I'm going to hit the outro right now. Bye, everybody.
Bye, y'all.
Later.